and get ready for a whole lot of fun.
So Liberty Today, Fridays at 2 p.m. on KCAA 1050 AM radio.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Alan Diaz with the E-Factor. The E-Factor is all about empowering entrepreneurs, and I'm excited here today because I have a really great guest, and his name is Dr. Jason Chiriano, and we're going to dive in and talk about some health things that are going to impact your life and your health and your finances. So welcome, Dr. Chiriano. How are you doing today?
Hey, Alan. Thank you for having me today. Happy to be here.
I'm excited that you're here. And we met, I think, several months back, and it was at an IE Mastermind. It's a bunch of entrepreneurs that get together in Rancho Cucamonga, very near your clinic, right?
Yep, about 15 minutes away.
Yeah, and we started chit-chatting about some stuff, and had a great conversation, and we became friends, and now we've been together and spoke at some conferences together, and I just love your vibe and your passion and desire to bring health to the world. And so talk to us, and let's let the audience know, what do you do? What are you about? What did you start?
Yeah, so I'm a vascular surgeon. So I did that for like 15 years. So trained at Loma Linda University, actually. So worked over there from 2002 to 2016, and then went into private practice. So if you don't know what vascular surgeons do, we take care of very, very sick patients, the ones with end-stage diabetes, end-stage peripheral vascular disease, or blockages in the arteries. So, sometimes I call myself a plumber, because we're always just cleaning out vessels and things like that. So I got to see the end stage of really what not taking care of yourself can do, because most of the things I dealt with, the conditions were really, if you look at it, they're preventable conditions for the most part. And I feel that the healthcare system was not doing a really good job of educating and providing the tools and resources for these patients to prevent this. So I became very passionate about health and wellness, and then decided to open up my own clinic with functional, integrative, and regenerative medicine, where we really focus on transforming people's lives from the inside out. So we're really lifting up the hood and taking a good deep dive into the health and wellness, and figuring out ways that we can get down to root cause problems and cut off that disease process before it starts.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you trained at Loma Linda, and then you eventually had become a trainer there for a while as well, right?
Yeah. I trained residents and fellows for several years, and I was in academics. I published a lot. I spoke at academic conferences. So, I was the president of the Southern California Vascular Surgical Society. Wow. So a lot of things I was doing in that realm.
When we met, one of the things I love that you said, and you said that here basically, is that you saw that you were kind of like a plumber. You're cleaning out the heart, what are they called again? The heart.
Well, I don't do the heart. I do everything but the heart.
Everything but the heart.
Yeah, all the vessels, just
all the
cleaning
vessels.
out all the
there
blockages.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got you to help me with that.
Yeah.
But basically, you saw that this is more of a condition, and you wanted to get to the root problem and help with the starting point to help people live in health.
Right.
And so you started your clinic, and what is the name of your clinic, by the way?
So I have two, actually. So I have Viva Life Healing Centers. That was our original clinic. Okay. So that was more of a regenerative functional center. We were doing a lot of regenerative biologics, even some stem cell work there. Okay. And we've kind of branched out now, and then I decided that I was noticing that a lot of men weren't really being taken care of, so I became very passionate about men's health. So we opened up Empower Men's Health, trying to empower men to take control of their health and live the types of lives they want to live. And it's been really transformative for a lot of men who I think men's health has been largely ignored. And guys, for whatever reason, don't really like to talk about their health in general. So, if they have a problem, they just kind of tuck it away and ignore it till it becomes a bigger problem. So we're providing a safe space for men to come in and be vulnerable and start taking accountability for their health, so they can be the best men, fathers, husbands, and business owners that they can be.
That's great. Yeah. Now, your one clinic is in Rancho Cucamonga. I've been there. Where's the other one?
It's still in Rancho.
Oh, okay.
It's actually down the hall from the other.
That's right. That's
clinic.
right. And you actually showed me that.
Yeah,
one.
I did.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because you have a partner as well, but that's a separate issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, great. And so, what are some of the main reasons people are coming to you? Because I look at your website, viva.life, right?
Yeah, viva.life, and we have empowermenshealth.com.
Yeah, okay. And there's so many great things. I'm like, wow, you take care of so many things that the average person is battling with or struggling with, and they don't know they can go there. Like you're doing things from people with tennis problems with their elbow, golf elbow, joint pain. You deal with depression and stuff like that, hormone treatment, even just there's so much there that I was like mind blown. So what are some of the main reasons you see people coming in the most into your clinic?
Yeah, so there's a few different things that people mostly come in for. On the one side, on the regenerative side, we're seeing a lot of athletes or a lot of people that have suffered injuries or older people that are having chronic degenerative arthritis type issues.
Okay.
So we're focusing more on the orthopedic and getting them optimized so they can get back to an active lifestyle. And the athletes we're really focusing on, because I work with some UFC athletes, I work with some other professional fighters, have some other athletes, but trying to get them recovered from any injuries and getting them back on the field or back in the octagon or whatever they need to do.
Wow.
And then on the other side, we have a lot of people that just come in and they just don't feel good.
Yeah.
And they've been to doctor after doctor, and they'll go in and tell their doctor, "Oh, doc, I just don't feel good. Something's not right." And they'll test labs. All the labs will come back normal, and they'll say, "Yeah, but I just don't feel right." And the doctor oftentimes will say, "Well, that you're just getting older, so here's an antidepressant." Or something like that. So they're frustrated. So they look to us for some, getting some insight into what could possibly be going on with them.
I've noticed that a lot of times doctors tend to just give you medicine. In my experience with issues, you go there and you feel like, well, wait a minute, you didn't really take care of the problem. You just issued me some medicines.
Right.
And I like that you're remedying that problem. So you see people coming in and they have these medicines and you start working through your process and they're able to slowly wean off of some of that stuff?
Yeah, my goal is to get people off as many medications as they can. Oftentimes I'll tell them, like, bring in all of your stuff that you're taking. So they'll bring in 2 grocery bags, either full of prescription medications plus supplements, and then some of them are on like 30 supplements. They're spending $500, $1,000 a month on supplements.
Wow.
And the interesting thing is now we can actually do genetic testing and look at what actually patients are suffering from and look at gene mutations and actually develop a tailored plan for them even on a supplement side of things. But it's ironic because some people get out of traditional medicine and they go into a more quote unquote holistic medicine, but they end up doing the same thing that traditional medicine was. And so then instead of giving prescription medications, they're just giving supplements. And that's also not good, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be looking at more root cause. There is a role for supplementation. I'm not against that. I do supplementation, but combining that with actually looking at, some underlying causes, lifestyle, things going on with their gut, things going on with their hormones, that when you start optimizing these types of things, other health problems actually go away.
Yeah, wow. I noticed that there's a lot of conversation around the gut, especially among us commoners who don't know the medical profession, and I hear it all the time. And so I guess the question to you is that a pretty a new study, and is it a pretty serious thing? Because people are talking about it a lot. It's
been around for a long time, and if you look at some of the ancient medicines, they knew it, right? Wow. They were treating the gut long before we were. But I think now, yes, there's been more studies, there's been more research actually looking at bacteria, specific bacterial roles in certain health conditions, doing extensive stool analysis in the microbiome, looking at the DNA of the bacteria, and then developing customized programs, including even customized probiotics. For what that patient actually needs. But, when you look at the physiology of why this is happening, our gut's actually our second brain. There's a lot of cross-reactivity between the gut and the brain. There's most of our neurotransmitters, dopamine, serotonin, are made in the gut, and they travel through the vagus nerve up to the brain. So unhappy gut, unhealthy brain. So, and then if you have an unhappy brain, then you're going to have bad neurochemistry, and that's going to translate to bad physiology, and that's for chronic health conditions. So it's all intertwined.
So when you say chronic health conditions, is this when people are using the word autoimmune diseases and things like that?
So a lot of autoimmune disease can start in the gut, and I'll just give you a simple example. Look at Hashimoto's thyroiditis. That's where the body's making antibodies to the thyroid. So we test for that all the time, and when I see that, that's usually a clue that something's going on with the gut, because there's some cross-reactivity even with gluten, to these thyroid antibodies. So
Yeah.
one of the simple things you can do is just cut out gluten. The
Wow.
thyroid antibodies go away, and you're not attacking your thyroid anymore.
Wow, that's interesting. Do you
Yeah.
see people coming in for Hashimoto's or
Yeah.
what autoimmune diseases, I guess I would call them?
Yeah, I've seen patients with lupus. I've seen patients with autoimmune psoriasis. I've seen Hashimoto's. Even multiple sclerosis, you could even classify as an autoimmune disease. But
Wow.
like I've had patients with really bad psoriasis who've been on immune modulating agents for that, and I've worked on the gut, and the psoriasis has completely gone away.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So you work on that gut health.
Yeah.
So is that through diet and also some other?
Yeah, it's through, I mean, it all depends on the testing. So we look
Okay.
at food sensitivities, we look at the microbiome, and then we start we have a whole 6-month protocol where it involves
okay.
a lot of different things,
Interesting.
getting rid of parasites if there's any of that stuff, yeast, fungus,
Yeah.
bad bacteria if they have what's called dysbiosis, overgrowth of bad bacteria, and just trying to restore that intestinal integrity because
Okay.
it's a pretty fragile environment. There's just a mucus layer, and then there's one layer of cells. If the mucus layer breaks down, all the toxins go right through the cells into the bloodstream.
Oh, wow. From the
And
intestines?
From the intestines,
Wow,
and that's what we
okay.
call leaky gut.
Yeah, okay.
And that's where a lot of these problems start. So when you start delving into that, it can really be transformed. I've even had a patient who was agoraphobic, couldn't go outside because she had so much anxiety around being around other people. Started working her gut, and that all went away. And now she's
Wow,
able
that's
to live a
interesting.
more normal life. And she had
Wow.
tried everything. She had been
Yeah.
on antidepressants, everything. So it's really interesting.
Out of curiosity, because I know that's I've heard some people say that lining around the intestines about 1 cell thick, does aspirin damage that, or is it okay?
So chronic, NSAIDs, chronic aspirin can cause problems with that type of environment. So we try not to have that as much as possible. But it's not just that. I mean, there's our diets, any
Yeah.
other medications, anything where there's an imbalance of what's going on, there's going to cause problems.
Gotcha.
So-
Now, of course, I have friends now that are in the same circle of us, and they've been doing your. I went there for some assessment, but I have some people farther ahead than me having things done, and it always comes up that when you draw blood, you go down to the cellular level. And I guess that there's some doctors that don't do that; they just draw the blood and look at it. Or talk to me about that. What does
Yeah,
that
I mean, so we draw specialty labs when we
Okay.
talk about that a lot of traditional doctors don't. So they're
Okay.
called functional medicine labs
Okay.
that kind of give a deeper dive into what's going on. For instance, like women come in with hormone problems. We'll test their blood, but we'll also do a urine and saliva test and look at the metabolites of their hormones because sometimes what you're seeing in the blood isn't really what their body's seeing.
Okay.
So doing a deeper dive into those issues can give you better insight into what's going on. And then, of course, the genetic testing is really important, too.
Okay.
So getting real
Huh.
granular
Yeah.
into what's going on.
Basically, biohacking, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're about.
Well, biohacking is a little different. So
Okay.
biohacking is we call it precision medicine. So you're combining science and technology
Okay.
together. It's almost like a backdoor into the matrix, right?
Ah,
So you're encouraging the body through technology to do things that it was already designed to do at a higher level.
Okay. Huh.
And there are things that we biohack every day that we don't even think about,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So people who go outside in the morning, they're getting their red light from the sun. The red light is then encouraging their mitochondria to make more ATP, which is all of our energy source. And so, that's people wouldn't even think about it, but they're
Yeah.
actually doing that. So,
Okay.
you know,
I have to say something. You had explained this to me once before, mitochondria, and then I kept quoting from Star Wars the wrong word.
Oh.
Yeah,
What did you say?
metachlorians. I kept saying metachlorians, and people were like, wait, are you talking about doctor stuff? Or are you talking about like Star Wars? I'm like, forget it. You need to go talk to Dr. Jason Chiriano.
yeah. Wait, are the metachlorians aliens? Because I know what a big Star Wars
Yeah,
fan
I have no idea.
Okay, yeah.
There's some kind of energy force
Oh,
in
it's an
there. Maybe
energy
it's
force.
the logos.
Okay. All right. Very cool.
Yeah. So you dive down deep, you figure out the problems, and then come up with some kind of remedy, and
Yeah.
that's typically for like autoimmune.
Yeah, and anything from people who want to lose weight because
Okay.
a lot of people, obesity, as we know, is a
Yeah.
huge epidemic and leads to huge chronic health problems,
Okay.
particularly in the insulin resistance and the pre-diabetes sort of
Okay.
things. And this is a huge chronic health epidemic in our country.
Wow.
But you see, the weight loss business, quote unquote, is huge. So you see a
Yes.
lot of these online, things advertising Ozempic and Wegovy and all the GLP-1s, that these
Interesting.
miracle, weight loss drugs. I don't know if you follow South Park, but they had whole episode on the end of obesity. You know,
Oh,
it was
yeah,
all
yeah,
about
yeah.
Ozempic. It was
Yes.
actually hilarious, but you got to be careful because people then start relying on this medication for their
Yes.
weight loss, but they're not doing anything else.
We're going to go ahead, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize,
Oh, no,
doctor. We
you're
have to do our commercials. We're going to dive in, hold that spot.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and have those commercials.
And now, the voices of KCAA with an exciting announcement.
Want to hear NBC News or KCAA anywhere you go? Well, now there's an app for that.
KCAA is celebrating 25 years and our silver anniversary with a brand new app.
The new KCAA app is now available on your smart device, cell phone, in your car, or any place.
Just search KCAA on Google Play or in the Apple Store.
One touch and you can listen on your car radio, Bluetooth device, Android Auto, or Apple CarPlay.
Catch the KCAA buzz in your earbuds or on the streets, celebrating 25 years of talk, news, and excellence with our new KCAA app.
Just do it and download it.
KCAA, celebrating 25 years.
KCAA Radio has openings for 1-hour talk shows. If you want to host a radio show, now is the time. Make KCAA your flagship station. Our rates are affordable and our services are second to none. We broadcast to a population of 5 million people. Plus, we stream and podcast on all major online audio and video systems. If you've been thinking about broadcasting a weekly radio program on Real Radio plus the internet, contact our CEO at 281-599-9800. 281-599-9800. You can Skype your show from your home to our Redlands, California studio where our live producers and engineers are ready to work with you personally. A radio program on KCAA is the perfect work from home avocation in these stressful times. Just type kcaaradio.com into your browser to learn more about hosting a show on the best station in the nation or call our CEO for details. 281-599-9800.
All right, welcome back again to the E Factor. This is Alan here with Dr. Jason Chiriano, and we are excited to be here. So much good information, so many interesting details. We're going to talk about now just a couple of the examples that you have had, people that you've helped, and you were telling us earlier that you've been working with police officers and things like that. Talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, so we've developed quite a relationship with one of our local police departments, which is the Fontana Police Department. And so we've been treating a lot of their guys now. For those of you who don't know, first responders, firefighters, we also do a lot with CAL FIRE. But a lot of them are dealing with chronic stress, just the nature of their job. There's a lot of physical demand. There's a lot of emotional demand that really takes its toll. For instance, in Fontana now, they changed the retirement age from, I think, 52 to 57. And so they have to work another 5 years. So, and every time one of their officers goes out in a medical leave, it costs the department, it costs public safety. So trying to keep them healthy is really important. So, one of the really most impactful cases that I've seen that have come in from that relationship, there was a SWAT officer and he blew his knee out during SWAT training. And he was out of work because of this knee injury for 1.5 years. Wow. He was undergoing the workman's comp. He had 3 surgeries. He couldn't work at all. He was still in chronic pain. He had lost like 60 pounds in muscle because he couldn't work out. So he came to us on a cane. He looked emaciated. He didn't know what to do. One of his officers were like, just go see Dr. Chiriano, see what he can do. And so we started our protocols with him, and we addressed his knee, obviously, through some regenerative work. We addressed his hormones. We gave him some supplementation and started working on his overall health. And I would say within 4 weeks, he came in and he was not on a cane anymore.
Wow.
After the first treatment, he gets range of motion improved about 30 degrees, 40 degrees in his range of motion already. And we treated him for about 8 weeks, and now he's actually back to work.
Wow.
He thought he was going to have to medically retire. He was depressed. He was despondent. He's been working out. He regained all of his muscle. I saw him a month ago, and he looked like a totally different guy. He's running. So this is like just a small example of what you can do when you're looking at root cause, when you're looking at the regenerative capabilities of the body, addressing multiple areas of health that you can really transform someone's life.
Wow.
So that was really gratifying for him and for us. I mean, it meant a lot.
Yeah, that'd be life-changing. Family,
yeah, I mean, his whole life was, going to change dramatically, right? Wow. And he was young. I believe he's like 37 years old.
Wow.
Right. And so,
was that one of those patients that you used any kind of stem cell stuff
we did.
on there?
Yeah, we used stem cells on his knee. We used some other regenerative biologics. We used a bunch of other non-invasive modalities, regenerative modalities on his knee as well.
Yeah.
We have a whole protocol around it. So it's a whole program that we've really refined over the last several years.
So people with knee issues, elbow issues, where else would they use stem cells?
Hips,
for
knees, shoulders, elbows.
All those.
We do spines as well. So a lot of those things.
So people who are using their bodies hard, contractors,
athletes, first responders. We love first responders. We love taking care of them. They give so much to us that we love giving back to them.
Yeah.
And so we really try hard to keep them healthy and on the job.
Now, I heard you on a side conversation, not here, but a few weeks back, and talking about people don't really need to go to Mexico or those kinds of places to get stem cell. Why is that?
So the misconception is that you cannot get regenerative biologics in the United States. So there are some legal issues that you need to be careful about, but we are under the scope of research. So we have an investigational new drug designation. So we do stay compliant with the FDA. The company that we use has the investigational new drug designation as well. So we are able to administer those. I think it's becoming more mainstream now. I think people are becoming more aware of that, but you do not need to go down to Mexico, despite what some podcasts.
But what about
say.
Price though?
Yeah, price is, I'd say that we're actually if you take travel time and you take everything else into account, time away from work and everything that it takes to go down there, I would say that we're much more affordable.
Yeah, and the quality is the quality?
The quality is amazing. I mean, the product that I use is highly tested. The viability numbers are amazing. Our results have been amazing. So,
we have a mutual buddy, and you've been working on his arm, and he's gotten some great mobility. I don't know if he's been using that at all yet, but I've seen some amazing things there with him.
Yeah, actually, we haven't used anything on him but our non-invasives. And, and he's done
He's
really
gotten
well.
that far.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been really cool.
So talk to me then about the importance of, because you brought up the... We talked about the police officer. What about business owners and helping provide some kind of health information or health options for their staff? How is that going to help?
I think, in the pursuit of business, I think a lot of business owners really start neglecting themselves because they're so busy taking care of their business. They're trying to make ends meet. There's lots of stress. I'm a business owner. I know firsthand. You're a business owner. You know how it goes.
Yep.
So they're not sleeping well, they're not eating well, they're not taking care of their mental health, and all these things start taking a toll over time, right? So, it's like being on a raft in a river, and they don't know that the cliff is coming, and they're just doing whatever they're doing, and the next thing you know, they're going over the cliff, and they have all these chronic health problems. Like, I don't understand what happened. Right? So when you're talking about like the health of your business is really tied to the health of yourself.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because with no health, there's no wealth.
Exactly.
Right? You cannot do
That's
anything
good right
if you
there.
don't
I
have
love
your
that.
health.
No health, no wealth.
No health, no wealth, right? No contacts, no contracts.
Yes.
Your net worth. Network is your net worth. It should be a mantra.
We got all the mantras.
Right.
Yes.
But if you look at the actual numbers of what it could cost your business if you're not maintaining your health as a business owner, I mean, if you look at statistics on CEOs that are healthy versus unhealthy, I mean, there can be a 10% to 20% shift in productivity either way. So for a $5 million business, if the CEO himself or herself can make a 10 to 20% increase in productivity, I mean, you're looking anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million increase in revenue every year. What could you do with an extra $500,000 or $1 million in your business? Whether it's hiring hiring more staff or putting it towards marketing or buying more capital or maybe taking a little extra money for yourself. I mean, But again, on the flip side, if you're losing $500,000, I mean, that can be very impactful as well. And
I think people sometimes don't understand or equate the stress and the worry and that weight to a loss of money. They think that they just put more energy and they just push and they just fight without getting rest, that they're going to win, they're going to make more money, and that's just not true. Our mental health in stress, I mean, we die earlier because of stress, right?
Absolutely.
So can you talk about that stress factor? Because I see that all the time with business owners.
Well, let's just look at life expectancy, and I'll just do it from my realm. So if you look at surgeons, they tend to live about 10 years less than the average population. Wow. And why is that? Right? It's not because they're genetically worse off than anybody else. I mean, they're working 100 hours a week. They're not taking care of themselves. They're not sleeping. If you look at sleep studies, the human body can only go so long without sleeping. I mean, some say it's just 3 days and you'll just die.
Yeah.
So, and that's just something that people don't think about. And look, the work's always going to be there.
Yes.
Right. So, I mean, staying up those extra 3 hours instead of going to bed and getting a good night's rest and be able to be more productive the next day, what is that costing you and what's that gaining you? Is that 3 hours going to make or break your business? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the expense of not being as productive the next day or the next year or the next month or whatever it is.
Yeah. Wow. You
Yeah.
have a mantra when we speak at some of the conventions, and it's something about not to drink coffee after certain. Can you go through those series of things?
Because it's not mine. It's just something I know. It's
well, I learned it from you.
I didn't come up with it. I just
I learned it from you. You're my doc.
I believe in it. But so it's the 10-3-2-1-0 rule. So and this is sleep is so underrated. The quality of sleep is underrated. And that's something that when patients come in, I really start looking at one of the first things I ask them is, how is your sleep?
Okay.
So do real quick. So 10 is no caffeine 10 hours before bed.
Okay.
3 is no food or alcohol before bed.
Okay.
3 hours before bed.
Okay.
2 is no work 2 hours before bed.
Yeah.
1 is no screen time 1 hour before bed. And 0 is the amount of times you get to press snooze in the morning.
I think I break almost all of those.
Yeah, and most people do, right? But if you can make those changes, your
Yeah.
sleep quality and your ability to be productive the next day
Yeah.
will be much better.
Wow.
So,
So that's good. I think that's some stuff we can live by. Now I just got to go and implement that stuff.
Yeah.
So I love that. I've heard that many times. I've been trying it. The first thing I'm doing right now that I've been working on is no caffeine 10 hours, right?
Yeah.
Before. So I've been cutting it off at noon because I usually go to bed around 10, midnight. So
Right.
that's been helping out a little bit. But it's been tough. Everybody wants to hang out at the coffee shop.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so
we're all over caffeinated.
yeah. Oh man, I can imagine. I end up
Yeah.
having 2-3 coffees a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, good. So stress, I notice when I'm working with people, and because I do a lot of empowering entrepreneurial stuff, and when you start talking about the weight of the world, the weight of finances, the weight of that new deal, trying to get more contracts, trying to meet new people, all these kinds of things that entrepreneurs are doing, trying to pay the bills to take care of their family and kids, and they feel this tremendous weight, and they feel the stress and the pressure and the weight. So what are some practical things, before we go to commercial, what are some practical things that you can give us to do?
So there's a lot of things that you can do. I think you have to be easy on yourself if this is new to you. You can't just implement all of these things. But one of the easy things that you can do, one aside from getting like 8 hours of sleep every night and making sure that you have a room prepared for sleep.
Okay.
Go to bed a little earlier and wake up 1 hour earlier. What does that do for you? So that allows you to start your day off on the offensive versus the defensive, right? So. For me as a single dad, if I get up 1 hour later when my kids are getting up, I haven't had time to meditate. I haven't had time to sit down and brain dump or think about everything I have to get done for the day, make a plan, get in the right mindset for the day. The mindset is so important.
Yes.
So that's a very easy thing that you can do. Just 1 hour earlier for yourself. Whatever it is for yourself. Take that hour. You deserve it.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Those are good things.
Yeah.
What about any kind of food diet, anything like that? Start off with a good meal in the morning or something like that?
So food is really tricky, and you really it's really tailored to each patient because there's many different strategies. So there's anything from intermittent fasting to, carnivore to just 3 meals, 2 snacks a day, try to keep the insulin levels. But it really varies on everybody's metabolism of how you approach that, and I don't think there's any right or wrong way to that. Yeah.
Is this something that you your clinic help guide
We do
with?
because we do metabolic testing, and so we actually are looking at people's how they're burning fat at rest, how they're burning carbohydrates at rest, what their meal timing should be, what kind of exercise works best for them, what kind of foods work best for them through to genetic testing. So you can tailor that out a little bit versus trying to put everybody in a box.
So you cater every individual. That sounds like biohacking to me.
Well, it is in a sense. In a sense, it is. In a sense, it is. Yeah.
Man, that's great stuff.
Yeah.
And how does that play into with some of the blood work that you do? Does that play into all that? Is that how you do that? You figure out all those things?
Yep. So between the body composition testing, the breath analysis testing, the genetic testing, and then the normal serum labs, you can really get great I'm a data guy, so like you can get really good data as to how to formulate these tailored plans for patients.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's great stuff. Man, I'm excited. Now, we had this conference, and you recently spoke at it, and that was the Infinite Growth Expo. It comes up every year. How was the feedback for you? Did you get a lot? I saw tons of people flooding your table.
Yeah, I mean, I think the feeling I got from that conference was that I was relaying something that people hadn't thought about before, which was really like what I wanted to do because I know it's ignored.
Yeah.
And so we're talking about total health transformation.
I love that.
Right? And the ripple effect that can have on a business and a business owner, right? Because if the business owner starts taking accountability for their health, that will ripple down into the company culture.
Wow.
The employees will see that as an example to the company. You incorporate that into your core values.
Yes.
Then the employees feel like they're part of something on the health side, and then employee turnover turns over less, so that's saving you money as well. So there's a lot of ripple effect to that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in just a few moments with Dr. Chiriano and off to a commercial.
And now, the voices of KCAA with an exciting announcement.
Want to hear NBC News or KCAA anywhere you go? Well, now there's an app for that.
KCAA is celebrating 25 years and our silver anniversary with a brand new app.
The new KCAA app is now available on your smart device, cell phone, in your car, or any place.
Just search KCAA on Google Play or in the Apple Store.
One touch and you can listen on your car radio, Bluetooth device, Android Auto, or Apple CarPlay.
Catch the KCAA buzz in your earbuds or on the streets, celebrating 25 years of talk, news, and excellence with our new KCAA app.
Just do it and download it.
KCAA, celebrating 25 years.
KCAA Radio has openings for 1-hour talk shows. If you want to host a radio show, now is the time. Make KCAA your flagship station. Our rates are affordable and our services are second to none. We broadcast to a population of 5 million people. Plus, we stream and podcast on all major online audio and video systems. If you've been thinking about broadcasting a weekly radio program on Real Radio plus the internet, contact our CEO at 281-599-9800. 281-599-9800. You can Skype your show from your home to our Redlands, California studio where our live producers and engineers are ready to work with you personally. A radio program on KCAA is the perfect work from home avocation in these stressful times. Just type kcaaradio.com into your browser to learn more about hosting a show on the best station in the nation or call our CEO for details. 281-599-9800.
All right, we are back. Welcome to E3, Empowering Entrepreneurs. E2, Empowering Entrepreneurs. I got to get that one right? Hey, I'm here with Dr. Chiriano, and we've been having a great conversation, diving into things like biohacking, into blood work and stem cell research, and the things that they're doing as a research lab, and some of the great, amazing cures and helps they've been able to be a part of and participate in. So I want to dive into something very basic, and that is, how do we get a hold of you?
That's a good question. It's a secret. No, I'm just kidding. So you can go to our websites, www.viva.life or www.empowermen'shealth.com. Call our office, or you can book it online. is an in-person consult. Obviously, I spend a large amount of time on the initial consult. So prepare, we usually have you come in for about an hour or so. And we delve into, try to figure out your pain points, see what you're really dealing with, see where you've been, see what you've tried, see what hasn't worked, and really start looking in under the hood and starting to see how we can help transform what's going on.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they basically go there, go to the website, call, book an appointment, show up, and plan on an hour.
Yeah. And then, we have a lot of programs. So it is, we like to partner with our patients. We try to empower them to take accountability. Because I think medicine in general is pretty paternalistic.
Yeah.
So you go to your doctor and your doctor says, here, do this, or do what I say. And otherwise, some doctors will say, if you don't do what I say, I won't see you anymore or something, which, whatever. But I think if you can figure out the why, like why is the patient there, what's, and start helping them to see like how their life, get them to envision a different life.
Yeah.
It will cause them to start taking accountability for that part of their life. And then success breeds success, right? So you start small. And you start setting goals, and then over time they start feeling better and they want to do more, and then it just becomes a lifestyle. It becomes, and when I talk about, you've heard me say this before, that health is an action. It's not a word, right? So it becomes more like from going from, I want to be healthy to I am acting healthy. I am doing these things that are healthy for me. Yeah. And then it becomes internalized as a part of their life.
Okay, so they come in, they meet with you, and last time I was there, you had these like massage chairs that right in your office. And so you still have those?
Yeah, I have them.
Great. So what a great experience. I mean, you go there, you get a nice massage, you get to hear the doctor go through everything with you. And I like that you say partner, because I had an experience when I went to the doctor and I had issues, I couldn't figure them out. And they're like, well, you're basically on your own. I go, well, can I be referred to an allergist? Like, well, yeah, I guess. But he just handed me, he said, you're going to have to go get a book on nutrition. And I'm like, well, you're my doctor. Can't you help me? And so I love that you partner with your client and you do the due diligence to figure out what is wrong, what's really wrong, what's the root of this problem.
Yeah, and I don't want to blame the doctors. The doctors are very well intentioned. I mean, I think the doctors are doing the best they can. I think they really want to help people. The system is not allowing for them to do their best job and what they're really capable of. Yes. And let's face it, I mean, the medical business, the healthcare industry is a multi-trillion-dollar industry, and only about 2% of that money is put into preventative medicine.
Wow.
And it makes no sense, and it's very short-sighted, because just from an economic standpoint, if you can keep people healthy on the front end, how much money are we going to save on the back end if you just invest in people's health up front?
Yes.
I think it's becoming more, like the system's becoming more aware of that, but it's not designed for that.
Yeah.
The system is designed to really be reactive instead of proactive.
Yes.
And so we're keeping people alive for a lot longer, but we're not keeping them healthy.
Okay. Now, everybody's wondering the same question I'm about to ask. And so maybe you can address it for a minute, because it's the same thing that comes up every time. So maybe you can address this in a way that helps us understand. They just want to dish out medicine so they can make extra money, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I would go that far. I just think it's the paradigm.
Okay.
It's the paradigm of treatment. And yes, I don't want to get too political about Big Pharma. I have my opinions about it. I don't want to get into that on this show.
No worries.
But yes, Big Pharma is a huge part of what runs healthcare.
Okay.
But the doctors are not setting the prices.
Yeah.
The healthcare is one of the only industries where the buyer and the seller don't set the market price.
Interesting.
It's a third party that sets the market price,
yes,
which are the insurance companies.
Okay.
And so the economics of that become very complex and hard to understand. But I will give you an example. When I do vascular surgery and I get reimbursed from an insurance company, the patient gets billed multiple tens of thousands of dollars for the surgery.
Wow.
I get about 20 cents on the dollar as the provider.
Man. Wow.
Right. And so I don't set that price.
Yes.
So more and more healthcare practitioners are now being strangled by the fact that they have no ability to set the market price. And it's becoming harder and harder for physicians actually to give adequate care, because they have to see an X volume of patients every day just to make a living because of the reimbursement cuts that happen every year.
Yeah.
unfortunately, the effect of that is the patient care.
Yeah.
Because now instead of being able to spend 30 minutes with the patient, they can spend 10.
Yeah.
How many problems can you really delve into in
Yeah.
10 minutes? So that's what I love about breaking out of that system.
Yeah.
Yes, we're a fee for service. It costs money
Yeah.
out of pocket.
Yeah.
But if you look at the amount of money it costs up front versus what it costs you on the back end to treat a chronic illness,
Yeah.
it's a fraction of what it would cost. But people don't see it
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah, yeah.
For some
Interesting.
reason, but there is obviously a sector of the population that really invests into their healthcare.
Yeah.
But changing that mindset and saying, you know, a little up front can save you
Yeah.
huge on the back end. But I feel bad for the patients because of that system and because of what doctors are experiencing on the reimbursement side, that it's really limiting to the type of care that they can give.
Yeah, I remember I
Yeah.
was in a circle of people and you were talking, and really I was having one of those Jerry Maguire moments. You had me at hello.
Right.
And you said, you know, my desire is to help people to get health and wean off of those medicines and drugs
Yeah.
as much as possible. I mean, you're a
Right.
doctor, you're going to monitor it, you're going to check it all, but to bring health at the base level, at the root, and to bring cure that helps them.
Right.
And so that was beautiful.
Yeah, and that, and that kind of stems from my own health journey. I mean, I was
yeah, tell me
very,
about that.
I mean, through my years as a trauma surgeon and a vascular surgeon, I mean, I was not taking care of myself at all. I mean, I was doing trauma call every weekend at a different hospital between Loma Linda, San Bernardino County Hospital, Riverside County Hospital. I was doing general surgery call during the week. I had my elective practice. So, my routine would be to go in the hospital on call. I'd do some trauma surgery and go outside, have 3 or 4 cigarettes. I smoked at the time. I had 3 or 4 cups of coffee, and then I'd go to the cafeteria and get a really healthy meal of a double cheeseburger or some chicken strips and some fries.
Yeah.
So after, several years of this, I was like 235 pounds.
Wow.
I was on 7 medications.
Wow.
I had high cholesterol, high blood pressure. My thyroid wasn't working. I was on an antidepressant. Because I was so stressed out.
Wow.
And so, so I can speak firsthand when I started taking accountability and taking care of myself, how your life can change, because now I take one medication and I mostly take supplements. I'm 198 pounds.
Wow.
I
So
don't
you've
have
lost some
high
weight.
blood pressure. I'm not insulin resistant, pre-diabetic like I was.
Wow.
And so, I love spreading that message to people that they can do it.
Yes. Yes.
And starting, just starting small.
I noticed something when we spoke, what was it, last Saturday in San Dimas at the Fairplex, and you were wearing some, a shirt and jeans, I think it was.
Yeah.
And I actually thought, I didn't even get a chance to talk to you about this because you had to leave and miss my speech.
I know.
But
Another
next time, no worries.
Heard it was great though.
But I thought, man, Doc looks good. Like you've been working out, you look healthy. And so I wanted to just say that because, obviously they're the radio audience. They don't hear you.
Right.
I mean, they hear you, but they don't see you.
Yeah.
But you look good. And so you've really changed things around quite well.
Yeah, I mean, when I did my first body composition scan, my biological age, because we separate biological age from chronological age, and so you can modify your biologic age. Mine was 75, and I was 45 years old.
Wow.
And now the last time I did my body composition, it was 45.
Wow.
And now I'm 50 years old.
Oh,
So
right.
I've actually reversed my chronologic and my
That's
biologic
great.
age.
So there's some truth to slightly reversing your age with
Absolutely.
proper health.
Yeah.
That's great.
And not only, I mean, that's just really a marker of how you're reversing your risk of chronic disease.
Yes.
Or chronic illness, I should say.
Yeah. Well, speak to us. How do people pay for this? How do they finance this? How do they go into that?
Yeah. So it is out-of-pocket expenses. Unfortunately, most of what we do is not reimbursed by insurance companies.
Okay.
So, so we do have some financing options. We try to work with people the best we can. We do, and we do offer, we do use HSAs, health savings accounts, and flexible spending accounts as well.
Great.
There are some financing companies that we use as
Perfect.
well. But we also try to make it easy, and if patients need to make payments, we can do that.
Okay.
I do a lot of pro bono work.
Yeah.
I do a lot of work for free just because I think the patients really need to benefit from
Yeah.
it. But that's unfortunately, until the insurance companies start catching up and really starting to reimburse this, it's really kind of taking things in your own hands. But I always tell patients they have a choice. They can continue doing the same thing and getting the same results, or they can do something different and invest in themselves. Because if you look at, even from a business standpoint, the business doesn't grow unless you're growing personally.
Yes.
Right? It's not the other way around. It's not like you make a bunch of money and then you grow personally. The
Yeah.
business is a reflection of who you are as a person.
Yes, true.
Right?
Yes.
And if you're not ready for that business as a person to expand, it's not going to expand.
That's great stuff. Good information. All right, ladies and gentlemen, real quick, we got to take a break for another commercial, so here we go.
And now, the voices of KCAA with an exciting announcement.
Want to hear NBC News or KCAA anywhere you go? Well, now there's an app for that.
KCAA is celebrating 25 years and our silver anniversary with a brand new app.
The new KCAA app is now available on your smart device, cell phone, in your car, or any place.
Just search KCAA on Google Play or in the Apple Store.
One touch and you can listen on your car radio, Bluetooth device, Android Auto, or Apple CarPlay.
Catch the KCAA buzz in your earbuds or on the streets, celebrating 25 years of talk, news, and excellence with our new KCAA app.
Just do it and download it.
KCAA, celebrating 25 years.
KCAA Radio has openings for 1-hour talk shows. If you want to host a radio show, now is the time. Make KCAA your flagship station. Our rates are affordable and our services are second to none. We broadcast to a population of 5 million people. Plus, we stream and podcast on all major online audio and video systems. If you've been thinking about broadcasting a weekly radio program on Real Radio plus the internet, contact our CEO at 281-599-9800. 281-599-9800. You can Skype your show from your home to our Redlands, California studio where our live producers and engineers are ready to work with you personally. A radio program on KCAA is the perfect work from home avocation in these stressful times. Just type kcaaradio.com into your browser to learn more about hosting a show on the best station in the nation or call our CEO for details. 281-599-9800.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am back. But who cares about me? We are here with Dr. Jason Chiriano.
I care about you.
Yeah, thank you. Now, I'm loving this information, so I want to dive in. Now, before we went on to break, you mentioned an HSA, and so I just wanted to let people know what an HSA is. It's called a health savings account.
Correct.
And people can open one of those up and put money in there tax-free and then use that at your clinic to pay for these things because you guys take health savings accounts, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, flexible spending accounts, health savings accounts, FSAs, HSAs, and they are a great way to take pre-taxed money and be able to make it work for you and save on your taxes and your, by lowering your actual adjusted gross income.
Oh, that's great.
Allocating that money. So there is a tax savings to that as well.
Okay. So there's ways for people to set that up and do that.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about connecting with companies and having a company program. What would that look like and how would that work?
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at these like really large companies, they do have corporate wellness programs and a lot of it's invested in the higher level executives and keeping them healthy because it's so dependent on the success of the company that, to have a healthy CEO, as I alluded to. But we're really interested in partnering with any type of company that's interested in corporate wellness because it would look, we would partner with them and then just make that part of their employee benefit package. Yeah. Something along those lines where then we could be a preferred provider for that entire company. Yeah. And that could be, we could offer things like free cancer screenings every year, total health and wellness checks, metabolic checks, making sure we're keeping those employees healthy because then this could be completely tax deductible for the company. Right. So it would save them a lot of money that way as well. And then also save them money if their employees and their higher level executives are staying healthy. Yeah. Right, so they have less turnover and change that company culture too.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah. That's great. And I think that one of the questions all the men are asking, yes, you do take care of that as well.
We do.
That is,
yes. Do.
And you can go in there and just say, I want to talk to the doctor. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Is there anything they should say if they're embarrassed?
No, I mean, I always tell them it's a safe space, it's a non-judgmental space, and they're not alone. Because I think every guy thinks they're alone, especially in the bedroom when they're having problems, which is not true. But more guys suffer from it than you would think.
Okay.
And there's simple solutions for it anywhere. We do testosterone replacement. We have a large testosterone replacement practice on our men's health side. So if you need that, please give us a call. But we have other modalities for sexual dysfunction.
Perfect. And so get over there, find that website. What is that website again?
Yeah. So the men's health, if we're talking about that, is empowermenshealth.com.
Perfect.
And then Viva Life is viva.life.
Okay. Well, let's just take a couple minutes, and since we only have a few minutes left, and just kind of break down a synopsis of what we talked about. So when it comes to getting things like joint pains, run through the list of things that you kind of take care of and people can get help on.
Yeah. So we have several different programs. I think one of our core things that I'm really focusing on right now is the total transformation. So for people that are really wanting to take control of their health, and that under that umbrella, there's a lot of things that we look at to really just be transformative in their life.
Yeah.
Whether that be gut health, hormonal health, weight loss, metabolic health, detox, and other biohacking modalities. But then we obviously do have our regenerative side, which can also be part of the total transformation. So we're using our regenerative biologics and those protocols to get people recovered from surgery, injuries, chronic degenerative arthritis, and things like that as well.
That's great. I went through your website a couple of times, but this morning before the interview, I noticed there's a lot of information there, and it's good. And so I noticed as I'm reading through, oh wow, well, I might have some of those things there. That got to be careful researching. No, just kidding. But I see, arthritis stuff, right? And we've been talking about looking at my hip and things like that, but there's so many things people could find good quality information there. Go take a look at that and then set that appointment with the doc, and you can go in through gut health, physical,
even mental. We deal with mental health as well.
Okay. So, people come in battling with depression,
anxiety, obsessive compulsive disorder, PTSD. We have protocols around that. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep. And so when it comes to dealing with people with depressed, are you seeing many young people?
Lots of young people with depression, anxiety. I think even since COVID, it's gotten a lot worse as well. I think a lot of that trauma, that mental trauma that went along with COVID.
Okay.
But we do have great therapies for that, including IV ketamine therapy, which is we can talk a whole other episode about that.
Yeah.
But
I always tell people I have a wavy hair. It's waving goodbye. So my question is, do you have something for that?
Absolutely. Yes, we have a whole hair restoration program on our men's health side. Yeah.
All right.
We do treat women too with it, but mostly men.
Okay. I would imagine. Mostly men. Yeah. That's great. So a lot of good stuff, man. Doctor, I am so appreciative of you, and what I really love is your heart, and your heart is to really help people, not just a number. And I know that most doctors aren't like that. It's the system. Right. They want to help. That's why they usually go into medicine. But you've taken it a step further, started your own clinic to really go in the deep dive with each individual client, hear them, treat them as an individual, not as just a clump of different same people, but to take in and do all the research that you need to do to help them individually.
Yeah,
that's
thank you for that. Yeah, it's been a journey, but we treat our patients like family. Once they come in, they're like part of our family, and I get attached to them, and then it's really cool. Like, it's something I never experienced in traditional medicine.
All right. So this has been E2, ladies and gentlemen, and you can find him at VivaLife.com?
Viva.life.
Viva.life.
And EmpowerMen'sHealth.com.
EmpowerMen'sHealth.com. You can get a hold of him, and we're excited. Get ready for some new upcoming people that we'll have on our show, and thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you, Alan.
All right.
Waiting for the break of day, searching for something to say.
The most diversified radio station on the dial, KCAA.
Hi, I'm Kaylee Spear, a licensed agent with Litchfield Insurance Associates here in Beaumont. A large portion of Americans don't have life insurance or don't have enough. Whether you need a temporary policy, something to help with income during retirement, or making sure your final expenses are taken care of, having life insurance is an act of love and security for your whole family. Having a local trusted agent makes now